I get a lot of people asking me how we were blessed to walk away from corporate America in our early 30s. Well, listen, I don't want to keep that a secret. I want to share it with the world. And so maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're trying to figure out, how do I even get started on my journey of entrepreneurship and getting to a level of freedom? Well, text the word freedom to 737 777 9909. Enter your information in, and we look forward to sharing some information with you. A proven system with small overhead, right? That you can do part-time, spare time, right from the comfort of your home, and have amazing mentors, coaches, and a community of entrepreneurs who are willing to support you and help you on your journey to freedom. Welcome to Code Freedom. I'm your host, Eddie Bales. Have you ever felt stuck? Have you ever felt like there's got to be more than life than the reality that you see every day? Tune in weekly, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays as we crack the codes to freedom in every area of your life. Welcome to Code Freedom. This is your host, Eddie Bales, and this is episode 167. And today's episode is really important, life-changing, because this level of freedom is bigger than the financial freedom. It's bigger than even health freedom. Matter of fact, this type of freedom right here, it actually affects your health, right? So it kind of is part of your health, but it's so much bigger than any other type of freedom I could think of, and that is the freedom of forgiveness, right? And I want to start by telling you a story. There's a young lady, Mary Johnson, who lost her son in 1993. Basically, he was a teenager, and a gentleman got in a fight with him and ended up killing him. So imagine, as a mother, losing your son as a teenager to a fight, a silly fight with two teenagers. And so she would go and, you know, after years and years and years, she finally got enough nerve to visit the person that killed her son. And what, 12 years later, she finally said, I forgive you. She went and visited him in jail and forgave him. And ironically, now the two are actually neighbors in the same duplex. And, the mother has even referred to the boy who, killed her son as her son. And so, it's just powerful that she had the enough to forgive. But here's the deal: when you forgive someone, it's not really for them; it's for you. Because when you when you have a lack of forgiveness in your heart, you're carrying a weight, and you carry that weight for a long time, right? And here's what's sometimes interesting is that you could carry that weight while someone else is living free. Like, someone else may have done something that may offended you, or maybe was just totally wrong, and they may not even be thinking about it anymore, but you're harboring it in your heart, you're harboring it in your mind. It's wearing you down, and it's probably eating you up inside, and I don't care who it is. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's never easy, right, to forgive, but you got to, because it'll allow you to be free, right? Free in your mind, free in your health, because sometimes you could forgive so much. I'm sorry, you could be in a situation where, if you're not forgiving, it could cause y- internal issues in terms of health, right? And the Bible speaks about forgiveness all the time. Talks about how, if you don't forgive, the Father is like, why would I forgive you if you won't forgive someone else, right? You guys probably have read the story of the person that owed a huge debt, and the king says, you know what, I'm going to actually forgive you of those debts. And then this gentleman has the nerve, the unmitigated gall, right, to not forgive someone else for their debts. Now, this is someone who is getting ready to be in prison for debts, and the king lets him go, but yet he wouldn't forgive someone else. And so, of course, the king didn't like that, and so they ended up putting him in jail, right? But my point to that is that, like, we got to learn how to give people grace, right? Nobody on this planet is perfect. People are going to offend you. People are going to do you wrong, and you are going to do other people wrong. So, I heard someone say, "You're jacked up. I'm jacked up. All God's people are jacked up," and I love that because it's so true, right? Like, in some capacity, we will all mess something up, right? Or we will do something that impact somebody else's life in a very negative way, and it's going to take forgiveness, right? But listen, if you do not forgive, again, I'm telling you, there are people who have gotten sick from not forgiving. There are people who, but the worst thing is, even in the Bible, like, I would hate to know that God is not going to forgive me simply because I didn't forgive someone else, right? Like, that's the worst thing, right? So listen, guys, I want you to really just think about anybody who has offended you, anybody who did you wrong, and I want you to tell them, like, hey, listen, especially if you're harboring it in your heart and you think about it all the time, go and tell that person, look, this isn't easy for me, but I forgive you, right? Um, and mean it in your heart, and release them from it, right? That doesn't mean you have to be their friend. That doesn't mean you don't have to live as neighbors as Mary Johnson has, but you definitely want to make sure you forgive that person, because if you don't, it's going to cause some major, major issues for you down the road. And even if you want to go spiritually, we don't even want to go into that conversation because um, forgiveness is such a big thing. So uh, we owe it to ourselves to not only be free on earth, but to be free so we can, when we leave this earth, hey, we know where we're going, and it's the right place and not the wrong place, right? So again, forgiveness is such a powerful thing. It's such an important thing as it relates to freedom. Like, what would be the point of having financial freedom and even having freedom in great freedom in your family and freedom in so many different areas, but that one person that did you wrong, you haven't forgiven them, and that one thing can literally, and sometimes we haven't forgiven someone and it's affecting us in ways that we don't even know it, right? Like, it's affecting us in our everyday lives, how we do things. Like, maybe you don't trust people, maybe you push people away, maybe you do certain things all because of what one person did, and we're not willing to forgive them, and now it's affecting us in such a negative way. So again, forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you, and you owe it to yourself to forgive that person. But also just keep in mind, you offended somebody, you did somebody else wrong. So if we're going to want the grace, we got to give the grace. You got to give it before you can ever get it, right? So listen, this is a short episode, but it's a super impactful one. I hope that you really take this to heart. I hope you really, like, internalize it. Really sit back and think, who has offended me that I've harbored and I festered in my heart ill will towards them, or maybe you've even wanted to seek revenge or whatever, and it doesn't really matter how big it is, right? Uh, because I mean, I could read story after story after story of people who were in accidents and now are paralyzed because of somebody, or people who killed someone's loved one, or it can get even more extreme than that. But my point is, if you don't be the person, the bigger person to forgive. Now, listen, the other person may not forgive you for something, but as long as you do your part and you forgive, that's it. Like, you're released, and you're gonna feel this freedom. You're gonna feel the weight lift right off of you, because it is a serious weight. Maybe you can't see the weight, but it's there, and it's holding you down. It's holding you back, and it's not allowing you to move forward because of this unforgiveness that you have in your heart. So go ahead and forgive anybody who has an art with you, or you have an art with. And I can't wait to know and hear about the freedom that you feel and you sense. So thank you guys for tuning in, episode 167 of the Code Freedom Podcast, and we'll see you all over the top. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for listening. Definitely feel free to take a screenshot of this episode, tag me in it on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you find me on social media. I would love to give you a shout out. Hey, you might even get a prize. Who knows? But excited that you had a chance to take a listen. I hope you got a lot of value. And definitely feel free to give us 5 stars as well as a review. Show us some love, and we appreciate you. God bless you all, and see you all over the top.